Welcome to another weekly edition of the Best Way to Smoke News with Serpo Jr.
Big J.
Cookies bring California swagger to Bangkok. Gets foothold in Thai cannabis. The joints being passed around were larger than the largest Burmese cheroots as people crowded the San Francisco rapper as he celebrated his American weed brand's arrival to Bangkok. Scores of people waited in line to step inside Bangkok's newest, at least for a few hours, cannabis dispensaries, which opened downtown on Saturday. While dozens of new dispensaries appear every day, this one was covered in the distinctive logo of cannabis giant Cookies. And rapper founder Berner was there to vibe with his friends and celebrate its first store in Asia. Now, that's kind of cool because, in like certain parts is they have like no tolerance or whatever it may be, and like maybe they looking at Burner as if like, all right, you have a certain influence.
Legit.
You brought a brand here, and it's like he may have brought awareness over there. So it's like as people waiting to do their little thing, you know what I'm saying? Make sure you hit them cookies real right.
When you go to Bangkok.
Yeah, and shouts out to Burner for making that happen.
Yep. More than $3 million worth of cannabis seized in Livermore. Livermore, California police on Monday detailed a massive cannabis bust in their city that resulted in the seizure of more than $3 million worth of pot. The bust happened on January 10th. Livermore police said their officers worked with the state's Department of Cannabis Control as well as the California Department of Fish and Wildlife in the investigation. Multiple search warrants were served on an unlicensed indoor cannabis cultivation located in a warehouse in the industrial part of Livermore, police said. Ultimately, the operation led to the seizure of 3,460 plants valued at $2,140,875, more than 680 pounds of processed flour valued at over $1 million, as well as $46,000 in cash, an assault rifle, and 2 handguns, according to investigators. Bless you. The city of Livermore was among the jurisdictions where all cannabis business types are prohibited, according to the Department of Cannabis Control. Man, look, in this day and age, it's just best to try to be legit, It's best to try to do it legit because they gonna come get you.
A national weed glut is causing prices to plummet and imperiling businesses. The number of cannabis grow operations serving the state's recreational market has almost doubled in the past year. The number of active marijuana plants now exceed 1.2 million, roughly 6 times the volume seen in 2020. By one estimate, Michigan has enough cultivation capacity to supply 3 times as much weed as the state's consumers are buying. And that doesn't include the huge illegal market that by all accounts commands a large share of sales. Michigan is emblematic of what's been happening across the country all year and why the industry has been in funk, even as legalization spreads. Now, with this right here, it's like you got a lot of people growing, but at the same time, you have certain, legal shops that's still charging about like $40, $50, for some of your top shelf. It's like you may probably be thinking like I may lose $1 if I like bring this 8 down right here to maybe $25, $30. You know what I'm saying? If you have roughly 6 times more weed than people are buying, so you got enough room to like actually sell this stuff, because if it's getting old and rusted out, you putting old and rusted out shit up on the shelf. That's what's making motherfuckers be like, man, I'd rather go to old Jimmy down the street. So it's like, definitely. That's just my opinion. Lower them prices, the illegal markets.
Drop them down. Right. The War on Drugs, Part 2. California, Texas rules are killing small legal weed farms in place of handcuffs and prison sentences to deter cannabis cultivation. The state has established a vast system of taxes, fees, and regulations to control it. The taxes are steeper and the rules are more onerous than those in other agricultural sectors. Casali and other small California cannabis farms say they are increasingly impossible to comply with given the glut of weed on the market and the plummeting price per pound of wholesale pot. Across California legal cannabis industry, small operators are facing financial ruin. Farmers have been forced to rely on government assistance and have stopped paying their taxes. Damn. I get it though, man. Some legacy growers who entered the legal market are considering going underground into the thriving illegal market where they would avoid state oversight and tax bills. That shit is crazy though, man. The farmers say that they support regulations that ensure their weed is safe for consumers, but they object the rule that nitpick their farming practices and needlessly drive up their costs. Rules that their legal competitors don't follow. In addition to paying cultivation and excessive taxes, states, licensing fees, and other upfront costs, legal cannabis farmers have been forced to comply with intense tracking and testing regimens and an array of rules that dictate how they can farm their crop, some of which state officials have conceded are excessive and have begun to walk back. One that the one that the state eliminated had required farmers to weigh every one of their plants individually. Another restricted outdoor farmers' use of light deprivation, a traditional farming method to limit the amount of sunlight plants get in the field. That's like the depot. But man, you can see, man, like the way it's trending, the way it's going, there's so much fucking weed everywhere. It's getting harder for a lot of these smaller businesses, farms and shit like that to survive, man. Yeah.
FDA releases final guidance for cannabis drug development as advocates await hemp and CBD rules. The Food and Drug Administration has released its finalized guidance on developing cannabis-based drugs, outlining the process and unique considerations for scientists when it comes to hemp and marijuana. The guidance, titled Cannabis and Cannabis Derived Compounds, Quality Considerations and Clinical Research, was announced in a notice set to be published in the Federal Registration on Tuesday. The agency previously released a draft version that went through a White House review in 2020. Part of the reason for the guidance is the federal legalization of hemp in the 2018 Farm Bill, which makes the drug development protocol different for that version of the cannabis crop that it is for marijuana, which remains in Schedule 1 of the Controlled Substance Act. Now and again, it just seems as if like they putting out some information to where it's like the word drug should be taken up out of there.
Right.
Like it's already on the Schedule 1 and it's there. So it's like if we're using certain terminology that's going to keep relating to this being a drug and staying on a Schedule 1, that's how we're going to keep looking at it. And it's like with this new development, this rule, this guidance that's coming out is making it as if like it's not so harsh of a thing, right, in my opinion.
Right.
So it's like if y'all want to look up and see what that is and how it may go and how you may receive it, I just feel as if they put information out here to take like the negative aspects away from cannabis users, cannabis growers, and all, so that drug that's Schedule 1, once we eliminate that stuff, it's a different ball game that'll be played out there.
For sure.
That's the weekly news. Serpo Jr.
Big J.
Big B.